My name is Jason Schwartz. Mainly you see me in the studio of KAKU doing the Neutral Zone Mondays at 11. Our engineer there couldn't be there today, and Akaku's budget, has been shrunk. And so there's no one to run it, so we are in the field. Today I have an interview with someone that some of you know, but everyone should know, because very soon we have a primary in Wailuku, and there are a bunch of people running. But this is Ashley AWAKEA Lindsey. And I want you all to know, it's really important to know that no matter where you live in Maui County, even though this is the wailuku-waikapu district, that's residency district. All the council people represent all of you. So you all get to vote no matter where you are on the island. And if you want to vote for Ashley, you can, even if you don't live in Wailuku. That's really important. Thank you for joining me here.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. We are 2026, and I already asked you, are you related to any other Lindseys? And I guess there's a lot of Lindseys on this island, but what made you decide to run? I mean, you're a young lady, and for you to take the decision to run for council is a big thing. What brought you on?
Actually, I've lived on Maui my whole life, and I love this place. I just finished my 5-year term on the Maui Planning Commission. I was the vice chair. That was this past March, but it kind of exposed me to a bunch of the issues that were happening throughout Maui County, and what needs to happen, and the ways to get there and stuff. In addition, I have a very young family. I just had a daughter 8 weeks ago, and I was kind of tired, all due respect, of people making decisions for future generations, and not being able to experience those, making those decisions, not being able to see those decisions through. For example, somebody who's about 60 years old, the current Wailuku-Kahului community plan is about 30 years old. So somebody who's 60 is unlikely going to be able to see the entire plan through in 30 years. It's supposed to be redone every 10 years, but we're at close to 30 years now. So that's really important to me. In addition to that, in the past, technology was kind of slower, and now the technology is accelerating. It's so fast, along with all the changes of the world, that we need to accelerate with it. So that was one of the motivations. I don't want a retiree representing my children and my children's children. It needs to be somebody who's young enough and has enough experience.
Well, I can tell you as a retiree, I'm 75, and I have been doing these interviews here for so long, it makes me sick, literally sick, half of my life practically. And I see so little change, and all these plans made 30 years ago that aren't actualized now. So for you now to say that the old guys, you're right, but no matter what it is, like what is happening along the way, it's like the housing thing. For 20 years we've been talking about, we don't have enough housing, we don't have enough housing, we don't have enough housing. Push it back, push it back, push it back. Major crisis, real crisis. Rents go up now, we're in chaos, and no way to easily, maybe you can tell me how do we get enough housing and let it be serving the local people who do not have the budgets to pay these current rents? Remember when they used to say 30% of your income should be going for housing? Many people are way over that. I'm gonna let you jump in, but you can tell I have a little passion, because I've been doing this before I was retired and watched the same thing, the same people. There's not enough coverage for new people that are running. The newspapers give you a few questions, and they think everyone's going to read those. Doesn't happen. Hit me.
So housing, housing is one of the most important issues on Maui. One of the things is our jobs don't pay enough to pay for the price of the house now. But the price of the house has to do with the distance that the product needs to land on this island, which isn't considered in that 30% ratio everywhere else. So if we are trying to increase inventory with our limited geographical supply, it's already a conundrum in itself. So if we have better jobs that pay more, so people don't need to work 2.5 jobs.
Those jobs are, and you have to find a way to have those jobs make enough money to support their people. So it's they're always complaining that they're not making enough money to be able to support higher incomes, higher wages. I'm with you. How do we bring in that industry?
How do we bring in the?
Or how do we do this? How do we find parity? Any thoughts? And I don't expect you to come in with all the golden answers like Trump.
Oh, jeez. Let's not go there.
Let's not go there.
I mean, increasing. So it's kind of hard for me because a lot of the mom and pops cannot pay a living wage. It's just not possible with the products they sell, the amount that they can sell, their ability as a small business, a tiny micro business, almost most of them. So I think working, and then there's unions who fight for union wages and things, and a lot of like our construction workers, for example, medical field workers, they can afford to pay housing prices because they get paid that much. Hotel industry people, but it's hard to find the balance between having to work for large companies and keeping our mom and pops alive. So I don't have the golden answer.
I'll give you a good one. The county has land. The cost of property here, big cost is land. Also, there are many ways we can create our building supplies that none of these things have been explored here. We talk about things that never get explored. You can grow your own housing materials. 30 years ago, I bring these ideas up, and I just watch that the people here, the people in government seem to be trying to keep it all together. How do we take care of the roads? How do we take care of the everything? So it's a big management problem, and I don't really see anyone sitting back and saying they have an Office of Economic Development. Economic development means think outside the box. It doesn't mean keep the same program all these years, and that's what's going on here. No one's thought outside the box. The county could buy and develop properties, put up a bond, and then they could do it from their side and give tax breaks to people that create it. I mean, I think that we are so deep, it's not going to be an easy fix.
I think, like for housing, you could do a public-private partnership. A lot of the reason why our housing supply stopped is because of the affordable housing market. In order to get government subsidies for building these houses, a lot of the percentage of affordable homes that a developer had to put out was too high for it to make sense for them. I can put myself in that situation. I had a Hawaiian Homes lot that was allotted to me and my uncle actually, and the cost of the home was a 4-bedroom home. It was $800,000
to build it.
To buy it as a Hawaiian in Hawaii, 50% Hawaiian in Hawaiian Homes. So when we went to, so the land is a lease, so that $800,000 only represents the cost of the new building of that house.
Wow.
But if we go back and we look at the costs associated to that amount, It is the shipping to land the stuff. Yes, we could grow our own timber, but also, how is our environment going to tolerate pine, for example? Pine would,
Oh.
the toxicity
There are many old.
Yeah.
That's the thing we know. You've heard them talk about bamboo.
Yeah.
We can, there are a lot of things that can be done. I mean, years ago, I remember we were talking about using sugarcane waste and turning it into building materials. There were processes to be able to do a lot more that really never got a chance to see the light of day over these years because the powers that be, which are really real, like things the way they are. There's much more control involved than I ever thought was really going on here too locally.
Yeah. So, I
And-
mean, so if the 800, I mean, so that amount of money includes, paying workers how much they need to survive in Hawaii. At the, the living wage is $27, $28 here, which is the minimum you have to pay. So they were getting how much money that they need to survive. And then if I were to do the math, the developer isn't making a lot. They're making money, but not a lot of money. And then it's subsidized. I mean, in addition to that, like, my family at one time, now it's kind of thinned out a lot, but there was 21 of us living in a 3-bedroom house. 10 of us were adults. And that's what made sense. But that's the reality. Like, I love that my children get to grow up with their kupuna. So it's a value for our people to, my kids, my 2-year-old being able to see grandma every day. That is invaluable education that, like, people need to experience more. But we're continuing to build a 3-bedroom house for two parents and 2.5 children. But we need to think multi-generationally, where, you want your mom living with you. I mean, aging housing for elderly in Maui is a huge problem.
Sure
But
is.
I mean, why would you want to, as a kupuna who did your time, gave all of your money, all your time into your family, now they moved away, they're moving out into the old house, and now you are alone? That's not the dream. I mean, that's not my dream. I'm not sure about everybody else. I would want to be with my family.
I'd hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you want your kids to be with your family, and the relationship between your ohana and living, like the houses that we are building now aren't even for our culture in
Right.
Hawaii.
Well, there's a good point. When you were on the planning commission, did you see a lot of affordable housing projects for local? Not really. I can't imagine.
There were some, all of the affordable housing, they talk about this AMI rate and fitting between these lines. And really, it's very, very distinct lines, this AMI boundary, that are affordable.
And like we say, even the low end of that line still doesn't approach what's real for local people.
Yeah, so those are the people who are working 2.5 jobs,
Yeah.
or a good paying job, like I was talking about earlier.
So I think that with all that's going on, I should probably stop talking about housing because it's going to be a process and it's difficult. I think, and again, little can be done about it now. The speculation by people buying Maui properties and renting them back to Maui people is the giant thing in my mind that has shot these prices up. We just keep getting people thinking that the Maui market is a good one because there's not enough housing. Let's buy it. And that's what's happened. Then FEMA comes in and makes it even crazier, taking people that were only getting by with their rents, they get bumped out, and new people move in being paid premium dollars through FEMA for a period of time. All those people that are out have to find expensive. It's completely out of control.
I mean, there's been a lot of illegalities that were happening during that time, especially post-fire. I did a lot of work in post-fire relief and housing with my rapid response. That's where I spent almost all of my energy. We were, finding immediate housing and a little bit more long-term housing. for me and my family in general. We had a house that my cottage, my parents were going to move into, so we could, do the kupuna thing. We ended up renting it to a fire family. Through that, my neighbor, they moved out of their house because they could not turn down the $15,000 that FEMA offered them for their 4-bedroom house.
By the way, 15,000 per month.
Yeah.
Per month.
So the family of 5 moved into their office because they wanted to pay down that mortgage. And I mean, you can't blame them, but that's a good story because our local family who's been here for generations could benefit off of that. But for the most part, most of these people who came in and bought, invested in Maui in a way that is only taking from the community. That is one of the reasons why so many had to leave. So many, that was a lot of the reason why I was running was, so my class example, I grew up country. My graduating class was 74, including everybody who ever went to my school, 6th through 12th grade. In my class was 74. The number of people who live on Maui is 14 out of 74. Maui County, 14 out of 74. And they, it was Seabright Hall. It's a college prep school. You're supposed to go out, go get your education and come back. Most of these families were multi-generational families. A lot of the people who were in my class were athletes, so they got full scholarships. A lot of local people, but they're not coming back. They can't get their jobs. They can't get their house. They can't have the lifestyle that they have wherever they live away from here. And that was a huge motivator for me. Like, why would you want to have your kids anywhere else? For me, there's no other choice, especially as a Hawaiian. Hawaii is home, the only home. You can go out, experience. I love to travel. I love to see things. I love to learn from other cultures, but there is no other choice than to live here. But families have chosen in droves, have chosen to leave because they can't afford it. They can't be here. They don't have the support system. Whatever it is, they've left, and we can't continue to leave. Like, what is Hawaii without all of that culture and people and aloha that's leaving?
Have you had much experience communicating with any of the other council peoples through this time?
There have been a few through the Maui Planning Commission, some ag bills that came through, a couple of housing bills that were coming through. I've developed relationships with them just generally, being in a place of leadership, just kind of knowing each other and small talking about, issues in Maui, their own experiences. I mean, Maui's a small place. It's hard not to know people,
I'm always wondering, when you choose council, some of the people that I've spoken to have ideas about what they do, and I wonder, what is it about being on council that you feel is going to be helpful to what you're trying to accomplish?
With all of the craziness that is happening around the world, around the nation, around the state, my eyes can only really focus on on our space and our place now. The council in Maui is a little bit different than other councils in the rest of the state. They have a little bit more, because like, for example, everybody votes for Wailuku district, everybody votes for Lahaina, but why is it that way? Because all of the choices are affecting. A project in Kihei needs to be decided upon by the entire council, even though it just really affects Kihei. But I think running for county council is the best logical step for me, that I feel like I can make a great impact on, and I have enough experience with, and something that I can understand a lot more than any other anything else.
Right, you know, some people decide they want to run for a state position because they think that's a better role, though. I got you. Okay.
I mean, the housing market, a lot of the choices now, especially in Central Maui, um, is gonna change it, and that all of that happens in the county level right now, for me, is my understanding. But I mean, you never know. You never know how the world turns and what's going on, and how the changes are going to affect the others.
Well, let me just throw out another word: agriculture. Hit it.
Agriculture. So, I'm the co-organizer of a project called Eat Local Maui, Project Locavore. We have been going for over 10 years. This has been my passion because I love food.
10 years? You're so young.
We've been doing it for 10 years. So you eat 100% locally sourced ingredients, which means Hawaii ingredients for 1 week. What it does and what it shows people is the gaps in our food system, because, you know, for example, the early days, 10 years ago, it was dairy. We had a dairy for the first 2 years, and then on the third year there was no dairy, and everybody's like, I need milk in my coffee, you know. And then there's smaller things like salt. Only Kauai has salt, you know. So it's amazing what it does and what kind of community that's built around. Like, you can join our Facebook group. We now have over 5,000 curated members in our Facebook group, and we've over the 10 years we've done things like created a farmers market directory, which didn't exist. There was a small trading that happened during challenge week, that, you know, I have papayas, who has mangoes, kind of situation that would happen out of that. And then that kind of branched off and became its own thing. There's been chicken, poultry vendors now that's come out of the woodwork, some cheese that's come out of the woodworks off of this. We've spoke a few years now at the Hawaii Food Convention in Pukalani. They were having it. And about this challenge and how it affects us. Kamehameha schools actually changed their entire menu because they were trying to source so much more local ingredients, because a lot of the original people there and organizers who were sourcing ingredients did the challenge and was like, wow, you know, we can make that impact. And so they did. And it's great what kind of community that's built around it. And I spoke at Hawaii Farmers United about sourcing those local ingredients, because you need those relationships. Like, I'm so lucky during challenge week, I'm like, people are giving me food, I'm so lucky to have this, but that not everybody has those resources, and it takes years to develop those relationships. You know, meeting people in parking lot, like, oh yeah, I have some pepper, you want some pepper? And I'm like handing it over like it's a baby to them, because those gaps that people are realizing in their life wasn't a thing, you know, it wasn't in their minds at all. So now people are growing pepper plants. Like, that's the impact. During the pandemic, there was an abundance of sweet potato, and because of this network I have from this challenge, we got this sweet potato out to the people. It's I mean, talk about supporting local agriculture. I mean, I've been doing it publicly for over 10 years. I mean, I grew up country. I remember working on a cabbage farm and putting the little dibble of cabbage into the tractor while my uncle is driving. There's 3 of us putting the dibbles of cabbage, and then the truck is pulling it, you know. And as like a 6-year-old, putting that into the tractor wasn't very entertaining for 5 hours. So you'd find us in the ditch on the side, things like that. But I mean, growing up out country too, that was such an important part of our lifestyle and community that I want to continue to encourage. More recently, I've through Eat Local Maui, and I went to a planning conference on Oahu, and I met a few people, and I was like, but what about this issue? What about our venison? Venison is a commodity that we should capitalize on, because it is actually killing our farms. we're feeding deer the food that we should be eating in addition to that deer. So we talked about processing. He actually, in his talk, he talked about what he's going to do on Molokai, what he's doing on Oahu, what they're doing on the Big Island. And my big question was, what are you doing on Maui? And he said, you know, the land, we have to find, he needs to find a specific place within the urban growth boundary that he can have processing. So I'm like, well, what about these issues? What about the venison? What about processing the venison? USDA certifications. There's so much that needs to happen. He's like, wow, like nobody really has come at me with these questions. And I was, okay, well, you know, Maui's a place, we have a central Maui values, predominantly agriculture. Like you as state need to keep investing into us and help us with these issues, help us with the venison, help us with the agriculture, because we are a part of the answer.
See that kind of spirit. Guys hear that? I hope. What other things are agriculture? What other issues have you seen that you'd like to even think to address?
I mean,
anything special otherwise?
Those are my passions: jobs, housing, food.
Good.
I mean,
Hawaiian culture?
Hawaiian culture.
How do you feel? How's Hawaiian culture doing? Oh, is it being supported with this new OEV Resource Center?
The leadership there is great. What their impacts, I'm not sure. I haven't really been closely following how what they've been
often
really into.
I know that a lot of people, whether they're from here or from everywhere, really want to be supporting Hawaiiana and Hawaiian culture. So I'm just really sort of getting a read. So we're working in that direction, and we'll see where it's going, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I've actually, I went to school for over 10 years at the college level for Hawaiian Studies. I didn't go for the degree. I went to learn from as many teachers as I could about about subjects around Hawaiiana. That's why I didn't leave the state, is because I love Hawaiiana so much. But for me at the time, it didn't pay the bills. So I double majored in business also. But I mean, as a Hawaiian and somebody from here and business person, finding that balance between the culture and Hawaiian leadership, I think is important. Using Hawaiian values like aloha, and their community support, supporting through Hawaiian values, and that as its core and base, you always have your right forward, doing the right thing all the time. So in terms of Hawaiiana and Hawaiian value, that's where I stand. Aloha is first, and then as resource managers, Hawaiians in Hawaii are untouchable. How they manage water resources, how they manage people. The Central Maui Valley, Wailuku, was known at the time of the landing of Captain Cook to be able to feed 1 million people. There was over 1,000 lo'ikalo in the Central Maui Valley alone. That was the abundance that Hawaiians had while they were here, while just being themselves, just in the aina. That we have to get back to, and understanding how it's managed, how to do it so it not only benefits you, it also benefits your neighbors and the future, the next generation and the 7 generations beyond that. It's so important, and a major reason why I'm here today at this place talking to you.
Well, thank you. If you were looking at and talking to the people, what do you want them to know and why they should be supporting you?
You should support me because you care. You love this place. You want to raise your family and our space from a perspective of somebody who's been here. forever, for generations. My family has been here, and understanding that, and our issues are housing issues. I've been property manager for 20 years now. I've had a lot of small businesses, restaurant, bar. I've worked at a hardware store. It's like so much for my young age, as you said. I've had a lot of life experiences, and I'm definitely the best person for the job this year in the council race.
There you go. Good answer. So I think that the most important thing that happens here today is we get people to see who you are and to see that you're approachable and open to listening, and you're truly a caring, deeply caring person. And a new mom again.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. At home,
We're the support team at home.
Yeah. Well, I'm. Tutu's in the car with my 8-week-old, making sure she's taken care of. But at home, I have we have a blended family. So together we have 4 children at home, in addition to our infants. So that being so important for us, taking care of that. There's so much work to be done, and being a new mom, even everybody's like, "You're crazy, what are you doing?" I was sitting at the West Maui Community Forum with my infant here. I think they had to turn off the sound at some point because she wanted to talk, and I mean, what are you gonna tell the 6-week-old baby? So yeah, community, I love it.
And you were on the planning commission, but I still say you're very brave for running.
Thank you.
Because a lot of people don't know who you are, and you got to get known. You got to get known on 3 islands. I hope you can use this as a tool to get it out to people and have them share it, so you get the kind of coverage that you need. Like our local public access, I think they're afraid of others wanting to look for equal time or something on the TV. But I think it's critically important that we get the message out, so that people that aren't yet as broadly known around get known. So you have an opportunity.
Yeah, thank you for giving us a platform.
You're welcome. Thank you guys for joining us. If you have any questions or anything, what's a good email address or a good website or anything like that?
So
We'll
my
put it on the
website
screen.
is Lindsey, Lindsey, the number 4, Maui Nui .com. And my email is the same, lindsey4mauinui@gmail.com. And then I have an Instagram, Facebook. You can follow those. You can comment, DM, and I will answer for sure. You can approach me in any space. I'm pretty approachable. And yep, find me there.
So we're going to have that stuff on the screen so that you'll be able to find it easily. Ashley, thank you for joining me here. Really a pleasure.
Same.
Blessings and aloha.
Yeah.
Best of good fortune on your soon-to-be run.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you.
See you again. Aloha.
We hope.